Welcome back, everybody, to Blockbuster Mentality. I'm your host, Ben. Appreciate you joining in. Hey, if you haven't done so already, or if this is your first time listening, why don't you hop in over there to iTunes or Spotify and subscribe to us. Leave us a rating or review. Literally takes 30 seconds. Can be a sentence or two, or a whole paragraph if you're feeling generous, but it helps us out a lot. We'd appreciate it. We've been climbing those charts. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast and Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality. That's where you get all the updates on the show, and also you can find our show at blockbustermentality.com. You can also get all the updates there, get our YouTube channel and all that. Haven't been promoting our YouTube channel much, but hey, it's there. You can find it. There's videos, so check it out. We'd appreciate it. We are doing something out of the ordinary this time. We used to do this a lot before we were a guest-driven show, but we have a new movie to discuss this week, and I was excited too. It's exciting to talk about something new. And we spoke about, as you can tell from the title, you already know, but we reviewed Dune. From the new movie from Denis Villeneuve, who has been one of my favorite directors the past few years. Was so excited for this, and was super excited to talk about it with actor-comedian Erik Griffin, perhaps best known for as playing Montez on Workaholics. He taught me a valuable lesson, folks. He taught me a valuable lesson in this episode. You'll find out. He was super nice about it, super funny about it. But I got to remember the niche of this show. It's talking movies with celebrities. That's the draw of our show, seeing what celebrities think of a certain movie and the art form. And he reminded me of it. And that's what draws celebrities to come on the show, is to come on to talk a movie, not necessarily their careers and why'd you get into acting, why'd you get into comedy. You know, that's the boring stuff. We don't want to be a generic interview show. We talk movies on the show, and we invite celebrities to share their thoughts on these movies. So Erik, thank you so much for reminding me of who I am, where I came from. Again, you'll get more context when the show officially begins with Erik. But yeah, we talked Dune, and I had a blast with him. He's a super cool guy, even when he was razzing me for asking typical interview questions. But good on him. Good on him. But anyway, without further ado, here's my conversation with Erik Griffin on Dune.
Yeah, man. I think usually people move here and all that. They have their little story and they want to talk about their stupid city that they used to live in, like, you know, and then they want to talk about, you know what I mean?
Right.
They want to talk about how great their city is. Like, people love to come to California and be like, oh man, Los Angeles is terrible. So then what are you doing here? Go back to your, you know,
right. Yeah.
Go back to your dumb city that you came from. Stop talking smack about my home, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm unfortunately in Tampa, so, you know, that's, you know.
Well, I'll be in Tampa in a month or so, I think.
Oh, look at that. Maybe we should have scheduled this later, but no, it's all good. That's cool. But yeah, Florida, you know, I'm from Detroit originally, so it's a little different. I mean, not that Detroit's, you know, much better than Tampa. I think people have a higher regard for Tampa than when people say Detroit, but you know, I do.
But it's not like Detroit, like the city. Like a lot of times people think they say they live in Detroit, but then they live in, like, you know, Livonia or like, you know, whatever those places.
Wow, Livonia. Wow, very good. I usually when I know people know what they're talking about, I usually say Dearborn because
Dearborn's another one.
Yeah, because that's more close to where I grew up than Detroit, but to outsiders, I just say Detroit, and if they ask further, then I'll be like, no, I'm not from the streets or anything, but, you know.
Right. It's like, that's the perception of freaking, you know, of, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the perception people have of Detroit, you know? So it's like, come on.
Exactly. But, what are you going to do? And, my Lions are 0-7 at the time of this recording. So, it's, Detroit's just, it's miserable. But anyway, we're talking about Erik Griffin today. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about Dune. Can't wait to get into that. What a movie to talk about, man.
Yeah, really. Yeah, for real. I even talked about it on my podcast. That's the only reason why I have this ready to go.
Nice.
But it's like, yeah, I really, in this crazy day and age, not that many, I don't know if you were going to the movies in the movie theater, but, I travel a lot now just for doing stand-up. So I'm out by myself. So I had to go, you know what, I'm going to watch a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Now let's talk about you a little. I mean, so stand up. I mean, when did that start? When did you get the itch to do stand up?
Oh man, we don't want to talk about that.
Okay, we don't have to.
You know what I mean? It's like that boring, like, oh, so where are you from? Why'd you start acting? It's like, it was like 2003, man. I've always wanted to be a stand up. I've been a stand up for most of my adult life now. So. Or like when I really, when I consider myself an adult, which is like past 30.
Yeah.
So this is what I do. Act.
It's just your job.
Stand up. It's just a job. Yeah, exactly. At this point, it's just a job. It's not necessarily fun to talk about. And it's like, especially right now with everything, stand-ups are getting attacked, so it's like, and I get it. So it's like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean this podcast is my side hustle. I got I have a day job, so when people ask me about either, I'm just like, yeah,
right, cool. Exactly. People like you go on a podcast and they don't even think like, hey, well, do you want to talk about your main job all the time? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be like a curmudgeon, but I'm just like,
I love it. I like that you're real about it. Yeah.
That's because I hate when I go to morning radio in some of these cities, and I know they didn't do any research. They just look at my bio on the website, and then they start asking me questions from my bio. So I see that you did this, and this, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, can we just have a conversation? Why do we need? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it matter? Like these little silly facts. Like I don't know.
Exactly. People. It's an easy Google search.
Why do people listen to your podcast? Why do people watch your podcast? They watch it for the movies and stuff. So my whole thing is like, let's just get to it.
Exactly. No, I hear you there. And I appreciate you being real, because I never know, like when I'm asking these questions, like we always try to ask questions that are, not your typical questions, but you got.
But that was a typical question.
I know.
Don't say that. You asked and there you go. That was a lesson learned for you. Don't be asking no dumbass questions that you don't want to ask. And look what happened to you. Look what happened.
You have taught me so much in 2 minutes. I've been podcasting now for 6 years, and now I've learned my biggest lesson. So there we go. But Erik,
comedians are assholes. That's what you just learned.
No, I mean, you said it, not me. But.
Yeah, but you just co-signed. You co-signed by saying that. That's what you just did.
Erik, I got to ask you about Workaholics, though. Can I talk about Workaholics a little before we get into Dune?
You can talk about Workaholics.
So, what was that like? Like, how did you get the role and everything? Is that like a cult following? Would you say? Is that more of a? Because it's not like a mainstream show. Like it's a Comedy Central late night.
Yeah, at the time, I don't think it was mainstream at the time, but like it was very, it was like a cult classic type of, it was just like, I think even more than that, just, little darling of the cable, You just got a big, huge young person's following, and so when young people like something, everyone else is kind of like, oh well, we gotta see what this is about, and like so every room I would go into after that, they'd be like, oh my god, Workaholics, and I always know who didn't watch it and who did watch it, So but it was great. I mean, it's a really great experience. I mean, I'm not, I'm not gonna take nothing away from it. It was really it's fun to be on some people's favorite show.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, fuck it. Let's talk Dune. All right, I'm sorry for asking you these, typical interview questions.
No, it's okay. Now I feel bad. Like I bullied you into like not doing your interview.
No, usually I just
feel like the old crotchety bully. You know what I mean? Like.
I usually
I should have vetted these questions before we started. Like, no.
Yeah,
he may not ask me about this. I don't know.
I know. I should have asked your publicist, like, what does he not like talking about? You know,
Yeah,
what's
it doesn't matter. I don't know, but it's all good. I am legit. Like, I really loved this movie and more excited about talking about that than my stupid career.
I know. I totally get it, and no, I appreciate the realness because most celebrities that come on here, they're just like, yeah, I love working on that project. You're just gonna get the same answers. You're never gonna get real like
who's gonna say, oh, I hated that,
right? Yeah. They're not gonna say, oh no, that guy was an asshole to work with. Like it's just gonna be your typical answers. All right, you taught me a lesson. Let's talk Dune. Erik Griffin, you suggested this movie. Now, typically when I get suggested a movie, it's an older movie. I just talked Rushmore with Nelson Franklin.
Okay.
And
I didn't know anything about it. They asked me, like, what movies have you seen? It's a blockbuster. So I was like, I literally had just seen this movie, again. And I was like, oh, all right, well, here's a movie. And then it was like, okay. And then she just ran with it, and here we are.
No, all right, cool. No, so that's why you picked it. I was going to ask you why you picked it. So now, had you been a fan of the original, the books, or anything? Like, what was your relationship with Dune?
No,
I
wasn't a fan of any of that. Like, I remember, I was probably too, like, I don't know when was the original movie? I think it was like 84.
Yeah, 83 or 84. Yeah.
Yeah, I was too young to even enjoy a movie like that. It was just too confusing and complicated. And in my day, special effects didn't enhance a movie at all.
Right,
there was nothing enhancing about special effects back then. So it was just basically like they had to, it was all about the performances, all about that, whatever was happening on screen there. So I don't know. I'm just saying for that movie, it wasn't special effects, but I don't remember it, So then this one came out and I just was like, I don't know. Certain people were talking about it, and then I was out of town. My cousin was with me. I was in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was like, well, let's just go check this movie out, and I am so glad that I did.
Yeah.
This was a fantastic movie. I think it was well made, well acted. I haven't been to a movie where I wanted to see it again in the movie theater in a long time. And this was the kind of movie that I was like, oh, I got to watch this again. Just for the simple fact that, like, you watch it once, it's a little hard to follow for the first 35 minutes because it's a lot of exposition. It's a lot of, like, explaining this universe and the world, a lot of explaining, like, here's why this is happening. Here's these people. This is why it happened. A lot of voiceover stuff to try to help us out. Like, this is the world, And so then once you kind of get a grasp of it, like 45, 50 minutes in, then you're kind of like, oh, okay. And then you kind of want to go back, but, that's just how I felt about it. Right?
That's so funny that you say 45 to 50 minutes in because when I was watching it, I unfortunately have not got a chance to see it in the theater yet. I watched it on HBO Max last night, actually, when I found out this was your choice. I
got you.
But I'm glad I did because of subtitles. That helped me tremendously to understand this movie better.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's funny you say 45 to 50 minutes because I specifically remember like 50 to an hour in, I was like just sucked in. Like at first I was just like, all right, what am I watching? Like, what is this? But at like the 50-minute, 60-minute mark, I was just like, okay, I'm totally enthralled by this and I'm sucked in. Like,
enthralled is a good word. And I think that I thought it was very visually stimulating as well as the soundscape. I felt like the music was so good, and so it really matched well with the visuals that you were watching on screen. So, I thought it was well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Because go ahead.
No. I was going to go. You go.
No. I was just going to say because I mean the only reason I was excited for it. Because I had never seen the original. I had never read the books or anything. I'm a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The director who did Arrival, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049. So that's why I was excited about it. And in that aspect, he did not disappoint in that regard. So are you? I mean, are you familiar with the director at all? Did you?
No, I'm not familiar with the director, but I'm familiar with those movies.
Yeah,
so that's it's interesting when you say that. I go, is he a part of C on Apple TV? Do you know?
That sounds.
You know what? I have the IMDb pulled up myself too.
Yeah,
so let me look and see if he's a part of that.
Because I know, obviously, Jason Momoa is part of that, which is.
And not even just him, Jason Momoa and what's his name? The who's the wrestler? The big guy he was in.
Right? Dave Bautista.
Yeah. He also is in C, and then there was one other guy that was in there too. So I was like, oh, it's a lot of guys from that show. So I felt like maybe it's probably the same casting, or maybe they have the same agents or something. But there is a connection to C, which, by the way, is really great, and I highly suggest you watch that.
That I've been meaning to check out. I have not seen C yet.
It's actually really good. You got to watch both seasons. Like the first season, you might be like, okay, maybe, but like the second season, it's just great, And a lot of the elements that I like about that show are in this Dune. Dune. First of all, when you know the order, it comes before Star Wars, so people might relate it to Star Wars. People might be like, "Oh, this is very Star Warsy," but what people don't know is the dude wrote this way before Star Wars even came out. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
yeah.
George Lucas probably stole from this.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah. Because when did the book come out? I'm looking that up right now.
I think it was 65. I think it was.
Yeah. So I mean, he definitely. He had to have taken from this because there's so many aspects.
Yeah, this was 65 and Star Wars came out in 72, but they probably started making it in like 70, 60, So he was probably heavily influenced by this book. Yeah, no, definitely.
Now I don't know about you. I appreciate that the director was he trusted his audience to eventually realize what's going on and everything. But for me, I feel like it could have used a Lord of the Rings-esque beginning. Like, this is the world we're in. This is the universe we're in. These are the houses. These are this, and, this. What do you
hear
think?
you, but he was telling a 2.5 hour story, 2 hours and 35 minute story as it is.
Yeah,
and I think the things that he did show, it was just kind of like, well, listen, I got to get this in because I don't even know if I'm going to get a second movie. So I think there was certain parts of the story that he was like, look, I got to catch you guys up as fast as I can. So. A lot of things were inferred. It was, you got that they were a part of some sort of galactic empire. You got that there were like obviously factions. It was very much. If I had to describe this movie, it was Star Wars meets Game of Thrones.
Yes,
it was it was very much like. So you kind of had to infer like, oh, okay, so they don't like each other, and this is happening, and it's like the sort of like Avatar. The people are coming to steal the resources from the planet that, is sacred to these people. It's like, so it had that element to it too. So, so then you had like an evil government. I mean, it's all the same kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So they were trying to set up early, like this is an evil government and these are people within it. And these people here that, behind me are like sort of the good guys. You know what I mean? And then also with this sort of like religion aspect of it where there's these religious people behind the scenes, so like the Order of the Jedi type of thing, you know what I'm saying? So it was like very much like, and they're sort of like keeping the galaxy in order. So it was like very like so even as I talk about it right now, I say to myself even more, for sure George Lucas stole this, a lot of things. He borrowed a lot of concepts and ideas from Dune. But Dune just made a terrible movie the first time around, or it was too artsy fartsy is really what I want to say.
Yeah.
But now when we come to this point right now, it's just, I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie. If there was no pandemic, would have I enjoyed it just as much? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. But I thought it was, I enjoyed the story that they were trying to tell, but I'm like an avid moviegoer, and so I fill in the gaps more than, say, the average person. So I'm already filling in the gaps in this movie of the knowledge, and I go, oh, I get this. Okay, so they don't like each other, and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And to me, he created a rich world that I want to see way more of, that that we could see like prequels, and you know what I'm saying? You could see,
yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like he's created a universe, and I think that he did a good job with that.
Yeah, total. The phrase is thrown around a lot. World building, like he built this world, and we're now enthralled in it, and just excited by it. Now, you said would you enjoy this much? What would the pandemic have to do with it? Like, what would you say?
Because our world, because I can count the movies I've been to. I haven't seen a lot of movies. I haven't, I just haven't seen a lot of movies. I haven't wanted to go see a lot of movies. That's the reason. It's like, and I really appreciate the movie going experience. So when you're in a movie and you like really, like it just grabs you the way this movie did. I think to myself, damn, I don't know. I think I would have enjoyed it just as much.
Yeah. No.
But I do think that the pandemic has changed just like what the things we appreciate and don't appreciate.
Yeah, I think so too. Which is sad in a way, but at the same time, it kind of gets you excited for what's coming next, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, back to the Order of the Jedi and everything. I mean, this whole religion they have going on, like this, I don't even know the name of it. I had it written down somewhere. I forgot my notebook.
Yeah, I couldn't follow all this stuff too, and like but you kind of you got a sense that that these people were kind of behind the shadows, and they even said it straight out in the movie, like you guys guide the politics behind the scenes, That's what the boy said to his mom. He was like, I know what you guys do. So it was like that kind of thing. And I felt like, okay, this was like, it's like it's hard to unknow what you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. You know what I
mean? So it's like there's for sure going to be people that are avid Star Wars fans who have been watching it now for 40 years who are going to be like, oh man, this is like, because I even said that I was even like, oh, this is very Star Warsy, and then somebody hit me up in my like Instagram chat or YouTube or something, and they were like, hey man, Frank Wright wrote this book in 1965. This was before Star Wars. And then I went, oh man, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so, that's enlightening.
Yeah, it's very enlightening, Well, it really changes my whole perception of like when I look at Star Wars now, and I just go, oh man, this is like you really stole from this guy, dude.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, it would be interesting to see an interview like with George Lucas now to see how much
now that we've seen Dune,
inspired by.
Just George Lucas was ahead of the game. He just was a better storyteller.
Yeah,
he was just a better movie maker. He
opportunist, I guess you could say.
And I would venture to say that they probably wanted to make Dune earlier. But then when Star Wars came out, they were like, oh, man. Because that's the same thing that happened with Inception, Like, they wanted to make Inception, but then The Matrix was so big, it was like, I heard him say that. He was like, I can't make this now because that's why he made it later because it was too similar.
Because it's kind of, the same, type of, idea, I guess you could say, with
even
Inception.
If it's not the same, people are dumb. They get a whiff that this might be the same, and then they, that's how they do it.
I love, so I mean, back to, kind of what the force is in this movie is she tells, his mother tells him, Timothy Chalamet's character, Paul, which the character names in this movie are interesting. I figured they would be like more ancient, but his name is Paul.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, okay.
All right,
like that's some kind of like, weird, like whatever planet he's from name, this water planet that they're from. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. But she tells him to use the voice to ask for the water. And that's where we first get that, first of all, the sound design of that, but there's a magic in this world.
But I tell you what, man, the late Rebecca Ferguson, is her name? Rebecca Ferguson, who plays his mom. She was fantastic. I mean, I felt every bit of her emotions when she wasn't saying anything. Like, she definitely had this strong mama bear.
Oh, yeah.
And you felt how she was torn between these two worlds of, like, loving her family but being a dedicated acolyte in this religion, and they really represented that too. They really showed you that too. That you really saw her, the turmoil, how she was torn between two worlds.
Yeah.
And, that was really good.
Yeah, because I mean, what she's part of is kind of like you were saying, Game of Thrones earlier, like the Melisandre character, the Red Witch or whatever. You know, they're kind of like that. You know, essence or whatever you want to call it.
They're very much. Yeah, they're very much. They're like this secret order, this secret religion. I think it's more like the Jedi than anything else. It's this secret order that kind of keeps balance and is working behind the scenes to make sure that it's very much like that. And it was just you got this, and then it's like it makes you go like this is a grand scale of things. It's like so you have these two the families who are like sort of fighting with each other, or who obviously dislike each other, and they seem to have a lot of like resources and power,
right?
And they're being controlled by some emperor. So it's like now you want to see like, well, what does that look like? Like how are they taking any orders from anyone? So that lets you know like how powerful must that person be. So it really like I don't know. It was a good story. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know what your rule is on your podcast.
No, I'll preface in the beginning that there will be spoilers, so we can get into spoilers all you want, my friend. But I mean, the Emperor thing. I mean, well, first of all, I mean, another Star Wars thing. Emperor.
That's what I'm saying. This sort of like like this sort of like central power that controls all of the universe type of thing is very much. You just kind of go, whoa, this is a lot of. Well, there's another show on Apple TV called Foundation. I don't know if you've watched that or if you even have, but that's another great show. And this reminds me of that too. Actually, like this reminds me of that too. Like it's very much. A big show with a lot of information, a lot of characters, so I would, if you liked Dune, I would suggest you watch Foundation also.
Yeah, because I mean the world, if there wasn't a part 2, which they announced, I think after this came out now. I don't know.
Did they finally announce it? Well, when you look on IMDb, it says it's in pre-production. So I think that did they finally announce it? Because I would be really upset if they didn't make another movie and even a third.
Well, because the marketing campaign of this movie, it was just Dune, but then when you watch the movie, the credit comes up and it's Dune Part 1. So it's like, okay. Yeah. This is part of a whole story, so that's why it's like if part 2 doesn't come out, like I don't know if this movie can be a standalone film. It's just one of those. What are your thoughts on Timothée Chalamet as an actor?
I think he's a really great actor, and I like when like an artsy fartsy actor like that gets into a blockbuster and brings that sort of indie movie soul to it, because that's exactly what he did. He's very much an indie movie guy. Probably makes every choice is meticulous, and I'm sure it was a lot for him to like do this movie. I'm sure there was like he had a lot of say in like well, this is how he feels and this is what he would do, and this is because you could tell he was like prepared and thoughtful about the things that he was doing, because he's a really fantastic young actor, and it's like he's good looking too, so that's like they go like we got to pick. So when I see someone like this, I hope they're a good actor, and he was a great actor. He
didn't disappoint in that aspect.
He totally carried it, and I believed him.
Yeah, because I mean, every time I see him, I think like, oh, is corniness going to come out? Is corniness, am I going to see? But I never found that. Like it was just like natural. It just was. It fit. But really his character Paul is having all these dreams.
You know what? They didn't hit the L a lot in the movie, so a lot of times I thought his name was Paul. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Again, that's why subtitles helped me, I think.
Yeah. I thought his name was Paul a lot of the times, and I was like, is it Paul? Are they saying Paul?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of regular ass names though, like Duncan, Paul, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Duke.
Yeah, because
or like Leto or Jessica.
Right.
You know, all the people's names were like pretty much like, oh, okay, this is like pretty regular ass names, you know?
Now, yeah, because I mean, it would be nice to know, because in the movie it says like year 10,000 something or something like that. So are we to assume this is part of our universe? Like, are we?
You know what? I don't know. I don't think so. You know, I just think it's like one of those things where you just like you suspend your disbelief and you just go with it. You know?
No.
But they tried to explain enough of like explaining like sort of like inferring a lot of the. This is what's happening. So you could tell there's a lot of politics going on, a lot of family drama going on, a lot of like you know, living up to expectations and you know, all that kind of stuff. So you know, it was like, you know, there's betrayal, there's honor, there's like, you know, and like and Jason Momoa, I got to give it up to this guy too, man. Like he's turned himself into a really fantastic actor. You know, like I believe him in these roles that he does. Like I believe him in this. You know, he was really good. You know, and that's why you got to watch C also, because he's really fantastic in that.
Yeah, because I mean, you see him as just this. You know, you see him in interviews and stuff. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy, and you think like, oh, they only cast him because he's big and muscular. You know, that's why they cast him. But no, I mean, you watch him, and it's just like
he's got depth to him, man.
Yeah,
he's got
man.
a lot of depth
like,
to him. Yeah,
especially like he had such a likable character in this, and the way he went out. Again, spoilers are on this show. The way he went out, sacrificial like. You know, sacrificed himself for the house. Again, a lot of Game of Thrones-esque, like the House of Atreides, or you know, the house of and then the bad guys are I don't even know what they are, but the Skarsgård it plays the villain, Baron, and Dave Bautista is part of that as well. That again, there's just so much to still find out about this world, which is so it makes it even more intriguing. It's like I want to know more. Like,
that's what I thought. Like I've already seen it twice now. I watched it in a theater, then I didn't even realize it was on HBO Max until I got home, and then I was like, oh, I can watch it there.
Yeah,
and I'm so glad I didn't know that, because I'm glad I watched it first in the movie theater.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, I'm gonna have to see it in the movie theater now, because
I think it's worth watching in the movie theater, man. I just think the cinematography, that theater sound was like, you know, it just really made everything pop, and it was great. I really enjoyed it, and I think they picked like some really great actors. They really brought this story to life. You know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, you have the whole thing with the bad guys, Hirokin, is that the name, Hirokin or something?
I don't know, man. I couldn't keep track of all.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
The
like
tribes and everything, and that's what I'm saying too. That it was like it took me a good 45 minutes to wrap my brain around compartmentalizing who people are in this story, and then like kind of going, okay, all right, now I got it. All right, where are we now? Okay, we're on the desert. All right, you know what I mean? You know,
exactly.
So there's a lot of information, but again, I understand why he needed to get that information out. There was probably a big discussion about when they should start the movie, when they should start the story, what they wanted to get across. And, I bet the director's cut's like 3 hours, and I would love to see that. Love to
I
see
know,
the stuff
seriously.
that they cut out of it.
Yeah, I can only
But I almost
imagine.
feel like they wasted this on a movie. I really wish this was an 8-part series.
I think you can tell so much more. I know you can tell so much more.
Yeah, man.
In TV, I mean, just release it as a mini series or whatever you want to call it. Like there's so much here. Obviously, it makes me want to read the books, but I mean, who's going to read?
Oh, me too. I'm thinking about getting the audiobook on Audible and like checking that out.
Definitely.
Then you're going to really get all the details, because I'm sure in the book he just really goes in. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out so much more because, again, this movie makes you, wanting more. Because you have Timothy Chalamet, Paul, his character. He's having these dreams. Keeps seeing Zendaya in his dreams. And, because you have the Fremen. The Fremen are which
The
I
thought it was the Furman.
Furman, something like that. Yeah. We'll
they live.
this
Yeah,
out.
they're the native people on this desert planet. And it's like, but they didn't really you didn't get the scope and scale of their world as much as you did the two warring factions. I did notice that they made reference to it by saying there's like all these different places on the planet and there's millions of them. They made reference to that saying there's millions of them, but they didn't really represent that in the movie. It just made it seem like there was this small tribe that was right there,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, you got to think there's other houses and, there's other houses and everything. But I was reading something that like they brought them to this desert planet to basically destroy them because they knew there wouldn't be any questions from the other houses. YouTube is great for people who just want to explain movies away.
The Dune catch-up stream or something, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much to this movie and so much more to come. I would assume
your camera went out of focus because of whatever you just did. It's like your face is out of focus. There you go.
Better.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I know how that is, and
I appreciate that, bro. Good stuff. So yeah, I mean, this spice stuff, and these dreams he's having, these hallucinations he's having. What do you think of this? Like, I mean, this is.
Well, I mean, I think that I get it. I mean, they made this whatever that stuff is, that mineral that's on this planet. They let you know how important it is to this, empire. Like they said, without it, there'd be no intergalactic travel. So they made it. They let you know how important this thing was, and this was the one place you can get it. And then again, this is just a part of the stuff about the dreams and all. That's just a part of the magic part about it. That's the Jedi power part about, this sort of like religious theme that they have going on in the movie too, that there's going to be a Messiah to save the people. And apparently everyone, in the galaxy knows about this. So
yeah, because
this religious this religious order is trying to make it happen. They're trying to like manipulate the system. They're trying to like, here, we're gonna make them this Messiah ourselves. We're gonna like place people in different places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can tell like I would love to get like the backstory of how the Duke, played by Oscar Isaac, and Rebecca Ferguson, Lady Jessica, how they got together, because it seems to me like it was probably an arranged marriage.
Right.
It seems to me it wasn't a marriage of love. It was a marriage of like this order made it happen.
Well, it's interesting because at some point they call her his concubine, and then at one point he also says, "I should have married you." So it doesn't even seem like they were actually even like married.
It was a weird thing.
Yeah.
Right? But that's part of the intrigue and politics and backstory which you want to know more of. But I think what we're talking about right now makes it really great storytelling, because we filled in the blanks with our own imagination based off what they did tell us. I thought the story that was untold was just as powerful as the one that was told. And I thought that's what made it a really great movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, there's just so much he could put into 2.5 hours that it's just, there's obviously just so much more.
Yeah, and I would almost love, like, I wouldn't even mind if there's like a movie, like what Marvel's doing, man. Like what Marvel's doing is like they're telling these great like individual stories, but they still lead up to movies,
Right.
So it's okay, like like give us a long 8-hour Dune. This is it, and then you finish it with a movie. Then I'll be okay. But like I don't know. Right now I'm kind of spoiled. in terms of like this isn't enough. Like that wasn't enough. I'm not satisfied with that movie. Like this should have been a series.
Yeah, that's kind of what I took away from it too. It's just because like we're at least going to have to wait 2 years for the second one to come out.
Minimum.
Yeah. And I'm surprised too, because did you watch Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah, I didn't really like it. It was kind of slow for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because Denis Villeneuve made this and Dune, or Blade Runner 2049 and Dune, and that didn't do great at the box office, and I'm surprised they trusted him
because
with
it's
this,
it's like you're gonna do a sequel to a 45-year-old movie or something,
right.
Like whatever Blade Runner was,
Yeah,
it's like a 40 years old movie, it's like, okay, man, like you have to retell a story again. It's almost like they almost should have remade Blade Runner and then done this new thing, because I didn't even remember everything. I was just kind of like, I don't know this universe, I don't know this world. And they actually didn't fill in the blanks with the storytelling, where you could be like, oh, this makes sense, this happened, that happened. It just was kind of its own standalone movie, and it just didn't, what's happening here? Why is Harrison Ford here again?
Yeah, what is this? Why is he looking all confused? I'm confused as Harrison Ford. Is he crashing an airplane somewhere? Have you ever met Harrison Ford?
No, I would like to meet Harrison Ford.
Have you ever met any of the folks behind you?
No, I wish.
Okay.
None of these people I've met.
No, none of them.
If I do, the first thing I'm going to talk about is this movie.
Yeah. So what obviously the cinematography, the sound, the everything, but like what would you say is the epitome or the catalyst, or I don't even know what I'm looking at. I got to find a thesaurus, but what drew you to this movie so much? Like, what resonated with you so much about this movie?
Well, because it reminded me of a lot of things that I really hold dear, that I really love, movies that I really love. It reminded me of Star Wars, and Star Wars has like been a part of my whole entire life. My whole life, Star Wars has been around.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Game of Thrones, which I really enjoyed, and it just reminded me of those things. And so I just think that it had a lot of these like elements of storytelling and intrigue, and it was grand and it was big. And I think we're missing that. And it was also like, I felt like because of like, being indoors for so long and the world being so weird for the last almost 2 years, we needed to see this again, that this was possible.
Right.
That something big and grand and the bigger than life can still be made and done, and people can enjoy it. Like, we don't know all the nonsense that they had to go through behind the scenes to make this movie, but what we do know is we enjoy the finished product. And so I think that's why it really resonated with me.
Yeah, I like that, because especially when you compare it to the pandemic. Not to make it, not to get too corny, but you can see Timothy Chalamet's character. He obviously was sheltered in place, kind of. He was a sheltered boy. Obviously he learned, fighting and everything, but he was sheltered. But now he's introduced to this vast new world. There's so much more out there, and you can kind of compare that to how we've been the past year and a half. When we were stuck inside, and but we realize now that there's so much more out there, and so much more to appreciate. Not to be too corny, but that's when you say when you're comparing it kind of to the pandemic, that's what it makes me think of. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I can say, I don't know, I don't even know what more to even say about the movie. I just feel like I do recommend people watching the movie. I do think you should go to the theaters and watch it. I think it's really worth it. I think it's a really great movie going experience. If you're into sci-fi, you're into like royal sort of like intrigue, this is gonna be a great movie for you.
Do you think Josh Brolin's character, Gurney, I think it is, he's got to be alive still, right? They didn't show him die, right?
But who knows? They killed so many people. Well, no, spoiler alert. But you know what I mean. So many people died that it's like, we'll see. You know, there's more, but I think that this next movie is going to be a lot about, you know, this guy getting into this role of this, free, this, Luke Skywalker role. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Of like freeing the Empire. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
that's what that next thing will be about, you know, and then
because
Zendaya will actually be in the movie this time.
Yeah, exactly. Because we got to learn about the Emperor, whoever that is, and the double cross he did.
Right.
Got to learn about that. Got to learn more about
I think the Emperor is a guy that's he was a guy that was in found. You know that picture they kept showing on the wall. That's a specific actor. What's his name? He's also on that show Foundation. So I think that he's the Emperor.
Okay. So yeah, that makes more sense then. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, we got to find more about his character and everything. So yeah, I mean, you got to think he's going to be in the next movie. Got to find more about the magic.
Right. This order and what's happening, and of course they had this whole thing. He's a guy. He's not supposed to be the one. It was like a lot of things like that. You should have had a girl, and it's like, it's like all this. I don't know. It's like it's just a lot of information, and once you like watch it again, you realize how well done it was done. Like you were given information that you needed. There was nothing wasted. Like there's nothing where they shouldn't have had that. Like everything that was said and done was to keep you in the know and to set up a grander universe, which hopefully will come in a second or third movie.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And then total spoilers about the ending. What were your thoughts on this final sort of a battle? This final scene with Timothée Chalamet and the Fremen man.
Well, I think that what you saw was that he has visions. He could see the future. So there was a part, like, what was strange though was like he was visioning a future where that guy was helping him. Like that guy was speaking to him, training him. He was a part, but then this thing happened where now he has to fight that guy, and then he saw how he was going to lose the fight, and then he won the fight, and then ending up having to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, that was like a lot. And then like the mom had a really tortured, that was a big moment for him. That Timothy, Paul character, it was a big moment for him where he actually full on embraced his role as whatever the hell he was going to be. That's the moment he embraced it. Yeah. Because he had like this sort of like inner voice talking to him. He had this sort of like, and then he like took the challenge of being like, well, I don't want to kill this guy, but I have to.
Right. Yeah. It's there's no other choice. Yeah. Cause he kept saying like, do you yield? And then like the Javier Bardem character's like, nah, this isn't how it works.
Yeah. We don't do yield in here, son. We don't yield here.
Not so
like
much.
This is to the death, homie. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, nope. Yep. Yeah. It's who wins. That's how it goes. But yeah, I like that because it's like, he's never killed anyone before, as she said.
Right.
And I didn't think about this before, but yeah, he can see into the future, so he can probably see his moves he's making, and
that's what happened. Because I think he saw a vision of him losing that fight. He saw a vision of that. Yeah. And then but then he didn't lose that fight, So it was like there was some. I was confused there as to why he was seeing visions of that guy kill him. No, train him, sort of.
Yeah.
Like he was having visions of that guy was his friend. He was someone that was, helping him. So I really am confused about that. That's the one thing I am confused about.
To me, now that we talk it out a little, it's almost like he can see potential futures, but it depends on the choices he makes will determine which future comes about, If he makes this choice, it'll be the death of me. If I make this choice, it'll be the death of him. If I make this choice, somehow we'll draw and we'll become friends, and he'll tell me, stories and stuff.
So it was so it's not like he actually saw the future the way he saw it. So it was like, and then when finally the moment he meets Zendaya, it's just kind of like, it's like, yeah, this is the girl you've been dreaming about, and then here she is right in front of you. I thought there could have been a different reaction there, because that's kind of like, whoa,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I just love the different sayings in this movie, the quotes in this movie, just because when he's talking with the guy he kills at the end, when we see a vision of him before that, he's saying like, just go with the universe, like just go with the flow, basically. Like I love that whole mindset, like just go with the flow of the universe, like don't fight against it, like just go with the flow. And that's how he kind of got through that sandstorm and everything. So it's just, there's so much in this movie that it's outstanding.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I don't know. Like I might actually watch it again tonight, just because of talking about it.
Right.
Just to be like, because then the more information then you really are kind of just in it. You know what I mean? You're just kind of in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like a good. I guess I miss a good. Like Game of Thrones really was such a great show, because it was this rich world, and then you got to know like the landscape, and you got to know like the houses, and you were just like, ooh, like you got to know all of this, and this kind of like hinted at that,
Yes.
It sort of let you feel like, ooh, we're going in that direction. So I really started to spice up about it, So I hope that they are allowed to like keep going and find that.
I 100% agree. Yeah, it's like, you get that itch, like if you were an addict, you get that itch again, like, ooh, I want that taste. I want that taste of that Game of Thrones again, It's like, that's brilliant. Yeah, and that's what makes me now wish that this was just a mini series and we could just enjoy it, and it would just go on
and then talk about it every week, It's like, oh my God, they introduced this character and stuff. That's so, and like I really like that format of like, I like binge watching stuff, of course. We all do. But I like when they hold it back.
Yes. I 100% agree there too, because I've been binge watched and I've been happy, I've been, disappointed when, I can't go to the next episode. Like, oh, I wish there was more, but it gives you a whole week to then
think about it and like digest more and really invest in it. I think when they let you binge watch a whole show, you don't really get invested the way you do when you can like wait a week, and it's sort of like it's that sort of talk you could do like with you have a friend who's into it too, and you're like, I wonder what's going to happen, and you speculate and all this stuff, and it just builds up the anticipation. Excuse me. When you could just watch the whole thing, you miss a lot.
Absolutely, yeah, because you just want to get through it. Like, oh, what's the end product?
Yeah, what's the end? What's the end? Yeah. What's the end? Like, what happens? You just kind of go right through it. So, I don't know, man.
Definitely, but yeah, I mean, it's and then you could theorize. You can make. I remember watching Breaking Bad when it was out, like thinking like, oh, what's gonna happen next week, and going on Reddit, like seeing everyone's theories and stuff. It's just like it makes it more exciting to see the next episode, and it's but so Dune, let's make this a miniseries. Denis Villeneuve,
right?
Come on,
I know, man. Like, or at least like, take like what they do in Marvel now is like, here's one of these characters, tell me their story.
Right? Yeah. Tell us the story of
like how'd they get here or where are they going?
Right. Yeah. Tell us the story of Josh Brolin's character, or just
the world is so rich.
Right. Yeah.
I want to. Yeah. The immersion watching. I want to immerse myself into this galaxy that they've created. And like I said, I really think he did a fantastic job. I mean, like the movie or not, I think you will really appreciate like all that went into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Great flick. I'm so glad you chose to talk about it, because it finally made me see it, because I've been just kind of procrastinating about it. I've wanted to see it since I've heard about it because of the director, but then Yeah, you finally made me watch it, my friend. So thank you for that. So, but yeah, any final thoughts on the flick, my man?
No, not really. I mean, I just feel like I think we talked about it really good extensively, and I think that like, hey, if people that are listening like it, go check it out. You know, if you don't like it, put a comment on your, put a comment there, being like, this is what you don't like about it. But I think it's the kind of movie that even if you don't like it, there's something to talk about. There's something to say like, this is why I didn't like it, and it still shows you what a rich universe it is. So I don't know.
Absolutely,
it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I am probably going to watch it again tonight.
I love it. And that's what we love about the show is just kind of coming to epiphanies about films, and just seeing what people's thoughts are on films. Usually it's a classic one, but I'm glad we did a new one, so it's relevant.
I didn't know that. If I had known it, I would have picked a classic.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. So
I would have picked like School of Rock.
Ooh, I was gonna say what would you have picked if you were gonna choose one of your
School
favorites?
Of Rock. Yeah,
ooh, that is a fantastic. That is one of those that are just like it's. I mean, it's a comedy, obviously, but it's like it's so rewatchable, and
it really is. It's just a sweet, lovable movie that like you just can follow it along and you enjoy every beat of that movie. That was Jack Black at his best.
Yeah. Have you met him?
Yeah, I've met Jack Black a few times.
Well, he was on Workaholics, wasn't he?
He
was.
He do an episode? I don't remember. I probably wasn't. I wasn't in that episode. If he was in, I don't.
But we're talking to Erik Griffin right now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, here we go. I look at your bio, and it looks like you.
So your mother was she was a clerk. No, I don't know. But no, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Next time we'll talk School of Rock.
We'll do that. We'll talk about School or The Godfather, which is like those are two of my favorite movies.
I've been staying away from like those kind of classic movies just because I'm like, we can't touch those. But if you ever want to talk The Godfather, let me know, my man.
You got to watch that. You've seen that, right?
Several hundred times.
That's a masterpiece. The Godfather is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your podcast? Where can people find you?
There it is. Right there. I didn't realize I had that there.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Wait, how do I? Oh, there it is.
Right
Riffin
there.
With Griffin. There you go. Riffin with Griffin. You can check me out there. And I have another podcast called Gen to Gen with this young influencer named Matthew Espinoza. And then I'm on King and the Sting a lot too. So you can check me out on all three things, Riffin with Griffin. But you just go to my website, ericgriffin.com, or my Instagram. I'm Erik Griffin on most things, and that's ERIK. So yeah, man, I'm out here doing it, and I appreciate you. So thanks for having me on.
Well, there you have it, folks. Erik Griffin, Dune, Denis Villeneuve, Timothée Chalamet, Josh Brolin. Did I say Timothée Chalamet? Chalamet? Who else is in it? Oscar Isaac. Ferguson, right? Jessica Ferguson, I believe. I hope I'm right. I hate editing, so I hope I don't have to edit that out. No, it's Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson, that's who it is. Who else is in this? Zendaya. You all know. We just talked about it. But hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow Eric's stuff. Go to ericgriffin.com. You can see where you can follow him, all that jazz, just like he said. But yeah, it was a blast. Again, follow us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast. Blockbuster Mentality is our Instagram. BlockbusterMentality.com is where you can find other stuff as well. Actually, not other stuff. That's all our shows and Instagram and Twitter as well. But you know what I mean. All right, folks. I'm done talking. It's time to splice this into the episode I already edited. Give you a little behind the scenes action here. But anyway, all right, I'm done. All right, folks. Well, that is it for me. For Eric, I'm Ben. And as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys at the movies.